welcome to the second and concluding part of the ICSI 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries. In today's episode, we will show you the highlights of Day 2 and 3. Day 2 of the convention began with a panel discussion titled CEOs Speak, Emulate Governance from Corporate Leaders. Here are some of the excerpts of the same.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On my personal behalf and on behalf of my fellow panelists, thank you very much for inviting us to this 44th National Convention of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. If you look at the role of company secretaries work very closely with CEOs. In most companies, if you look at the organogram, and technically they report to the board, etc. But the person that as company secretary works most closely with is the CEO. And from always, it's always been the situation like this, which is that the triumvirate of the CEO, the CFO, and the company secretary are the people who, from a management perspective, and this is important, the word management perspective, are responsible for ensuring corporate governance in an institution. So this is a very good opportunity for the company secretaries to engage with and ask questions which will help you understand not only the expectations, but also reflect on your limitations so that you can make a positive effort in making a difference to your careers. So this is a food for thought, and I would urge you to make the best use of the opportunity that this session will provide you with.
I would also like to congratulate the ICSI for choosing this topic of strengthening, powering governance, and empowering all stakeholders, which I think is the most pressing need actually for the country as a whole, and absolutely essential for sustained development. I'd like to quote Peter Drucker, who's supposed to be one of the gurus of management, who once said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. We spend too much time on strategies, on various other MIS and fancy management terms, but it is actually the culture. And again, here coming back to our own Indian ethos, Gandhiji's concept of trusteeship, where all of us actually in any management position are supposed to be act as trustees. And that, in my view, is the best definition of corporate governance that I've heard, where you are adding value, you're doing things for the greater good, rather than either for your own promotion or satisfying a section and getting temporary advantage. Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda was another panel discussion on the topic Digital Drive, Empowering Knowledge Economy. The main focus of the discussion was on the government's Digital India initiative and its successful implementation. Here are some snippets from that panel.
I'm going to talk about, Pawan almost gave it away, more about board meetings. So as I understand, as I see you guys in a unique profession. You work with the boards, you work with the senior management. You are like lion tamers. You work with the lions all the time. And the directors are the lions, or the management teams. You have to respect them, but if you let them, they will eat you up. So you have to dictate the terms. But uniquely, the boards serve a very important function in the organization. And, I do want to say it's more about the direction and the oversight of the company and less about compliance. While you do want to keep them compliant with all the laws and all of that, I feel that an extraordinary amount of time goes into, just watching where the edge is and just making sure that you keep them within the lines. That'll be the big idea to think about. Every organization has to think about their customers. As company secretaries, your customers are management and director. Give them a great experience. If you do that, they would come along on the journey, and that might be, wonderful for you as well. Thank you.
We are seeing everyday disruption. These all airborne, Paytm, Ghana.com, O8, all these things are taking place. Red Bus, OLX, Food Panda, these are the things which are taking place. Now, these are asset-light model, no manufacturing, and focus on a specific target market. Social media is changing, and they are changing relationship, they are changing communication, and they are changing marketing. Friends, these disruptive technological inventions are supersonic. It is better, stronger, and fast. We have formed a futuristic council in our office that what is the new developments are taking, how we can take it, what types of preparation we should do. Same thing I'm suggesting for ICSI also. Everything has a negative impact initially, but if you rightly correct everything, it has a new beginning, and new beginning is always great. Thank you very much.
The concept of good governance has been around since the time of kings and rulers. Knowing the importance of this, the organizers hosted a panel discussion titled Learning from the Experience of Royal Majesties. Here are some of the highlights from that discussion.
Let me first tell you, as an international level historian that I am, that India is amongst the oldest civilizations in the world. And Rig Veda has been acknowledged by the entire world as the oldest text known to mankind. Let me tell you that it was the greatness of our civilization of this country that we remained the leaders of the world for 35 lakh years, whether it was in science, technology, military, financial, in any respect, knowledge. India was the leader of the world from the days of the Ramayana to the days of the Mahabharata. So in that, I think India should become the teacher of the world, which we were, and when we were, we maintained our #1 position in the world. So let us today take the right step forward on the right path and get back to our old knowledge, our old standards, our old morals, and lead this world to great heights and to prosperity and well-being. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Well, that was what transpired on the second day of the ICSI 44th National Convention for Company Secretaries. It's time for a short break, but there's more coming up on the other side as we bring you the highlights of the third and final day of the convention. Welcome back. You're watching the concluding part of ICSI 44th National Convention. The third day of the convention started on a high with a special marathon in association with the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. The first session of the third day was a panel discussion on enhancing skills, finding the way beyond compliance. An eminent panel of experts discussed focusing on the skilling of the Indian workforce. Here are the key highlights from that discussion.
We have been focusing on compliances. We know that compliances are very important, but equally important is the spirit of compliance that is behind. That is more important. We all know that as a living being, we all have body, mind, soul. Similarly, an organization also has body, mind, soul. We have to clean all the three, keep it all lively and healthy. That's very important. Earlier, we were talking of growth, where growth was only considered to be increase in income. Later on, the coin came in the economic context is economic development, where development included increase in income along with health and education. These are economic terms, and now we are talking of sustainable development is the target for the countries, to the nations, to the international community, where in the sustainable development, if we are using the resources, it is our they say it is our responsibility to leave the same level of resources for future generation. Then only our economic development can take place. The economic development, everything is changing. Every scenario is there, going to different changes. There are a lot of disruptions. So these all things are important, and these all things help us to grow our country, our individual capacity. And these kind of sessions are important, and various other speakers that I have along will definitely enlighten you.
There are two things. You always speak in English, when you talk of a compliance. One is the compliance in the letters, and another is the compliance in the spirit. So what do you understand by that? Let me spend a few minutes on this very fact that when you say that you must comply with the law in letter and spirits, one is a physical compliance that irrespective whatever the consequences, good, bad or indifferent, you just go and meet the requirement of the law. The second is the issue which is more spiritual, which touches your conscience and not your intelligence of the mind. I always tell that whatever may be the level of your oratory, intelligence, your excellence, your hard working, everything is a waste, according to me, if you can't convert yourself into a good human being.
We have come to the last leg of the three-day convention. The very last session featured a closing ceremony which was attended by Union Minister for Textiles Smriti Irani and Vinay Kumar Saxena, Chairman, Khadi and Village Industries Commission. It was followed by the prize distribution of Best Regional Council Chapter Awards.
I am thankful to Madam Smriti Irani for sparing her valuable time from her very busy schedule and agreeing to grace the occasion of the closing plenary of the 44th convention. Friends, in the current scenario, the corporate world with transition of our profession from compliance professionals to the governance professional, we are expected to deliver a lot as a governance professionals to the corporate world. At this juncture, I would like to say that people who change after the change will survive. The people who will change with the change will succeed. And the people who cause the change will lead. We need to become the people who causes the change and becoming the leader in the corporate world for establishing the good governance practices. I would like to once again thank both the chief guest and guest of honor for remaining present. And without taking much of your time, I am closing this. Thank you very much.
Friends, the message of our Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Vijayabhai Rupani, and the regulator Dr. M.S. Sahu was very loud and clear. That message, that speech shows the trust and confidence of the government on professionals, particularly we, the company secretaries. But with a message that this trust gives us n number of opportunities, open up so many new areas, but at the same time, it casts immense professional responsibilities also to discharge our duties effectively and efficiently. Self-discipline, self-governance, यही मंत्र है गवर्नेंस को आगे बढ़ाने का, यही मंत्र है हमारे ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी का, यही मंत्र है ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के पीछे, यही मंत्र है गवर्नमेंट की हर सिग्नेचर कैंपेन के लिए. हम अपने आप को डिसिप्लिन कर लेंगे तो हमारा परिवार डिसिप्लिन्ड होएगा, हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डिसिप्लिन्ड होएगी, हमारा देश डिसिप्लिन्ड होएगा और हम सरकार की और हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की और हमारे देश की हर जो विजन और मिशन है उसको हम लोग इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाएंगे. सो दिस इज द कंक्लूजन आई मे से फ्रेंड्स इन just 1 or 2 lines.
We've been really discussing hard as to how to take ourselves to the next level. And I have always felt that we are either into T20 match or we are into the test match. Wherever we are, there are different skill sets which are required. So as professional, I must also now tell you that we are human beings too. In the run for making a great livelihood and beyond that, sometimes we have always been neglecting our other roles in the society. Friends, as test match is important, equally is T20. And if professional life is important, equally is the personal life balancing is important. Thank you very much, friends.
कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज का क्या रोल है, कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज क्या कर रहे हैं कंपनीज में, मैं समझता हूं उसके बारे में मैं कुछ बोलूं तो शायद ठीक नहीं होगा। मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कि जिस तरीके से खादी में एक आर्टिजन जो है खादी की बैकबोन है, बिना एक आर्टिजन के खादी का कोई महत्व नहीं है, उसी तरीके से एक कंपनी के अंदर कंपनी सेक्रेटरी की वही इंपॉर्टेंस है। अभी कुछ देर पहले देश में एक आग की भी बात की गई। यस, बिल्कुल सही कह सकते हैं, देश में एक छोटी सी आग चल रही है, लेकिन उसके लिए मैं कहना चाहूँगा, खादी और इकोनॉमी, the country's mood is white. Thank you.
It is a matter of deep pride and privilege for me that I stand today amongst the conscious keepers of Indian business. As an Indian, what fills me with great pride is the fact that amongst the 75,000 company secretaries in the world, 50,000 are Indians and very much members of this institution. As a woman, what fills me with pride is the fact that 50% of those 50,000 members are women. And I'm hopeful that irrespective of gender, male or female, under the leadership of the President and the Council, the phrase with which I started, conscious keeping, is something which is resoundingly heard across the world, that this is a nation that leads in corporate governance through the contribution of company secretaries across the country. When you ask anybody in this country to describe what a company secretary does, the common citizen will tell you that these are those professionals who are beholden to only a board. My request is that you do much more. You protect the interest of the average shareholder, and that is something that the institution should ensure every Indian citizen knows. But you look at the responsibility of the company secretary, what do you find? It is not easy to be the conscious keeper. When a whole business model sustains itself only on profit making, when everybody wants to cut corners and maximize the monies that will be accrued, the windfall, it is the company secretary who waves the flag and says, look at compliances, look at regulations. At times, meeting with a lot of frowns across the board, I'm sure, कि फिर बोला CS. So I applaud you for holding up the banner of law. It is not an easy banner to yield. It is not a popular banner to yield, yet you yield it. And I think that is your greatest contribution to the Indian economy. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is with deep pride that I wish all the students well who are passing out, and I'm grateful for this opportunity, Mamta ji, that you've given me to interact with the esteemed audience. Jai Hind.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's our privilege that we are announcing the Best Region and the Best Chapter Awards from the mouths and words from none other than the Honorable Chief Guest herself.
Best Regional Council Award to recognize the contribution and efforts for developing of professionals, I think for the year 2015, has been given to the Northern India Regional Council.
The message is to all the company secretaries. The Companies Act 2013 has already given a major significance that we are the key management personnel. The real message, I think, has yet to evolve and develop is that we are the chief governance officers in corporates, and we have to understand this responsibility in a big way. Rather, we are the lead governance professionals. So when we have to perform that role, we have to pay attention to the best corporate practices. That is what we all have to work upon, and the institute has a major role to play in that, because this is a mother institute which has to promote and strengthen this concept and to support all the members to perform and to achieve this role. This is what the takeaway which we have to take.
With that, we have come to the end of this very special coverage of the ICSI 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries. We hope the show has been an interesting and informative one. Goodbye and many thanks for watching.